Good morning, Jordan here from Artisan Electrics. Welcome back to the channel. It is day 2 on the Andersen install. We are doing a retake because I am having to drive back to London, as I explained to you in episode 1. Basically what happened yesterday was, unfortunately, the Andersen didn't turn up in time, which is really frustrating. They sent it out to the wrong address. So I'm now heading back to London, but I'm driving in my Tesla because I just couldn't bear to drive down in my van again. I don't need that many tools today, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to take the Tesla and at least make a painful journey a little bit more enjoyable. It's chucking it down with rain though. It's absolutely typical this. Yesterday was dry as a bone, and of course today when I'm doing the outside work, because yesterday was all the inside stuff, now today it's absolutely hammering it down with rain. There's huge puddles all over the roads. In fact, this is the wettest conditions that I've ever driven the Tesla in. So it's a good little test really for the car to see how it handles. So far it's handling absolutely beautifully in the rain. I mean, we've got these Michelin Sport tyres on it, so it is like, it glues to the road basically. So I've just got onto the motorway now, A11, then I'm going to hit the M11. Let me turn the music down, otherwise I'll get demonetized. So we are now on Autopilot, and I can talk to you a little bit about this job and the frustrations of logistics and deliveries with materials. So this is one of the things I teach in my Electricians business course. This time it didn't go so well, but one of the things I teach about just streamlining your workflow, making sure that you don't have any hiccups and wasted time, is make sure you order your materials well in advance, just in case stuff like this happens. So, classic example, you order the materials, the manufacturer or supplier or wholesaler, whoever, says, it's going to be delivered within 7 days, and then of course 7 days comes and goes and it's still not delivered, and they say, oh sorry, there's been a delay at the factory, or whatever the excuse is, and you end up having to wait a lot longer than you expected. So my recommendation in the business course, which I'll share you a little free secret, and you can get a link to the full business course down in the description of this video, but one of my top tips is, as soon as you book the job in, order all the materials, even if it's a few weeks away, because then you can be absolutely sure that you've got all your materials on site when you're going to go and do the job. Because there's nothing worse than this kind of thing now, I mean, yesterday it took me nearly 2 hours to get down to London, and then an hour and a half to get back. And now I'm going to drive again another hour and a half there, and probably an hour and a half back, in order to just finish the job off. It's only going to take me an hour or two to do the actual mounting of the charger, but because of all the faffing around, this whole job, which I'd sort of allowed a day for, is going to end up taking 2 days out of my schedule really, because although yesterday I got home a bit earlier and stuff, it's kind of dead time. I just ended up catching up on things in the office, and today the normal paid day of work that I should have done is now had to be swapped out, and I'm going back to do this job, which obviously I'm not going to charge the customer anymore because it's not their fault, but it just peeves me off when suppliers make mistakes which cost you money, and they basically just say, oh, I'm really sorry, and that's it. They don't actually do anything to rectify their mistake in terms of, like, they could have said to me, oh, we'll compensate you for your lost time or whatever, but of course they don't do that. All they say is, oh, we'll get it out to you as soon as possible, and you've basically got to suck it up and face the consequences, and it costs you money, and doesn't cost the supplier anything really, apart from they've put it on expedited delivery for me, so it probably costs them an extra 10 or 20 quid for the delivery. Anyway, rant over. Hopefully this job is going to go well, and it's all going to be fairly straightforward. The difficulty with taking the Tesla to work is that you don't have every single item that I usually would have on the van, so I've had to just chuck in everything that I think I will need and hope that I didn't forget anything. So we'll see when we get there if I forget something. If I get there and I forgot something really fundamental, it's going to be really annoying. But we shall see. So I'm on the M11 now, and it is telling me that I should arrive in just over an hour, 11:27. So I'm going to stick this wonderful vehicle into autopilot, no hands, and let it do all the hard work for me, and I can relax, pump up the music, and just enjoy the ride, really. One of the things I absolutely love about this car is just how relaxing it is to drive because of autopilot. It just makes it an absolute dream, really. Especially motorway driving, you can sort of just take your brain out and just let the car do the work for you. And it's amazing because every update that they do, you get these over-the-air updates with the Tesla. So every over-the-air update that it sends to your car and updates it overnight, next day when you wake up, it's a better car and autopilot works better. It's just incredible. The rate of improvement that Tesla are making at the moment is just absolutely amazing. And now autopilot is so reliable that I genuinely feel totally confident in it. Like at first it was a little bit jittery, but the way it is now, I feel totally relaxed when I'm on autopilot. And although you do have to pay attention and keep your hands on the wheel for safety reasons, just in case, you really do feel like you're in good hands, which is incredible because it's a computer, but basically they say it's like 10 times safer than a human driver, so that's what they're aiming for at least. And when it gets to a certain level of so many times safer than a human driver, then they will basically allow it legally to just be completely self-driving. And then probably the next phase after that will be it's going to become illegal for humans to drive cars because we're actually really dangerous because we make mistakes and human error is the cause of most accidents. So yeah, I've got 233 miles of range. I'm driving 45 miles down there from here and about 55 miles back, so I can easily get down there and back on a charge. And he's not in the congestion charging zone anyway, but the great thing about the Tesla is obviously if it was in the congestion charging zone, I wouldn't have to pay congestion charge because it's a zero emissions vehicle. My van yesterday, I was a bit worried because I was in the low emissions zone, not the ultra low emissions zone. And I was thinking, I don't know if I've actually been in here before. I don't know if my van counts as a low emissions vehicle, but I think it does because it's one of the Euro 6 engines. It's only a year old, so it should count as a low emissions vehicle. There were plenty of other similar vans on the road around there. Let me give you a little demonstration of how autopilot works, right? So basically, you have to activate it, you have to engage it, and I can see the little blue icon here to say that autopilot is engaged now. You engage it by just double tapping this little lever on the side, and then it just bleeps at you and it says autopilot is engaged. And what it does is you set your speed, so I've got it set to 70. Yeah, got it set to 70. It's flashing blue at me now because I've not touched the steering wheel in a while. So all you have to do is give it a little wiggle and then it'll stop flashing at you. Basically, if you don't touch the steering wheel for like a couple of minutes, then it will go into sort of like disable mode, and then it's gonna basically slow the car down and take you to a safe stop, because it thinks you might have fallen asleep at the wheel or you might have passed out or had a heart attack or whatever. So it will maintain the speed that you set on here. It can read the speed limit from the maps, or it can read the actual speed signs as well. So it will automatically adjust that speed depending on what your area you're driving in is. And it's steering for me, so it will keep me in my lane. It won't change lanes automatically at the moment because I've not got the full self-driving package. I think you've got to spend another £7,000 for that or something. But if you've got that package, you can do the auto lane changes and stuff as well, where you just indicate and then it changes your lane for you. But you can see now the road's turning slightly, and it's keeping me in my lane, which is great. And then I can just speed up and slow down by using this little knob here. But if you actually have a car in front that's slowing down, then it'll just automatically slow down for you. And if you have the car in front speeds up, then it'll speed up. And it will maintain a certain distance of a certain number of vehicle lengths between you and the vehicle in front. So I can change that by just pressing this button. I could change it, so I've got it to 3 vehicle lengths at the moment, so that's like my distance that I feel comfortable with. But you can go right into 1 vehicle length, or you can go all the way out to like 7 vehicle lengths basically, depending on how comfortable you feel being close to the car in front. So it's just great. It's so relaxing and it's so accurate, and it just makes, you don't need you don't need to put your feet on any pedals. You don't need to touch the steering wheel apart from giving it a little tweak every 30 seconds or so, just so that it knows you're still alive, and it just does all the work for you basically. Well, nice weather for ducks, I think that's what they say, isn't it? Nice weather for fitting an electric vehicle charging point. Oh no. So I have arrived, and it was a lovely, relaxing drive. It's gone very quickly, but it's chucking it down with rain here, and I'm not looking forward to getting out of this car and actually doing the job. I've not got an umbrella or anything. I've got a waterproof jacket. Fortunately with the Andersen, all the internal gubbins is kind of like sealed within the unit and waterproof, so it's not going to be too bad in terms of the actual unit itself, and I think I can probably do something to kind of protect it from getting wet, but it's just going to be, I'm just going to be soaked by the time I'm finished. Anyway, hit a thumbs up so that you show your appreciation for me getting soaked, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, because I know that 74.9% of you aren't subscribed. That's not good enough. We need to build the Artisan movement here, so get on board, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let's get into this installation. Right, Tesla charging point is going here. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill at a slightly different angle to the existing hole, because the new cable entry point for the charger, it needs to come across a bit this way so that the edge of the charger is not butted up against the window. Otherwise, when they unholster it, it's going to kind of catch on the window a little bit. So what we're going to do is just move the cable entry to there, which means that from inside, I'm going to drill through the same hole inside, but I'm going to have to drill at a slightly different angle so that I come out about here in order to get the cable exactly straight in the back of the charger without seeing any cable, and then that means that this existing hole can be sealed off. I just put my hoodie on because it's just ridiculously wet out here. So yeah, I'm going to measure the depth of the wall, and then I can calculate the angle that I need to go at so that I come out roughly in that spot anyway. If it's not exact, it doesn't matter too much, but that's pretty much where I want to come out. So yeah, gonna get drilling. Right, so actually what I figured out is that we can actually drill from the outside in. Right, so we have drill in, came out just in the right place, so that's perfect. So that's all good. So what I'm going to do now is run a bit of 6mm twin and earth through there into the other side. Then there's that junction box that was already there. We're just going to reposition that slightly, put connectors in that junction box, bring it through, mount the charger on the wall, connect it all up. So it should be fairly straightforward. What I'm going to do now is just offer the charger up, get the holes drilled already for mounting it and screwed and stuff. So get the cable through, and then it's a real quick process to just mount it on the wall. Then I can do the connections on the other side and we should be good to go. So the nice thing about these Andersen units is that you can put the screws in and then just drop the unit on. So the top 2 screws, they've got those little holes with a slot, so you can put them over, slot them down, and then just fit the 2 bottom screws in. So I've got the cable in now, so I'm going to just slide the charger on here, connect this cable in quickly, get it all finished out here while the rain has stopped, nearly stopped, and then I'll do the inside connections. Alright, so we have connections done here, so that's good. So I'm just going to connect the charging cable in here now and then wind that on, and then that'll all be good. Right, so what happens is we've fitted all these covers, these side covers, etc., the waterproof, all the waterproof covers, the side panels and stuff. And then now we just put the front cover on, which just basically hangs on and then fixes with these 2 screws. So it's really easy to fit. It's quite easy to assemble this thing. There's lots of little fiddly screws, and you do need an Allen key to tighten them up. And you're supposed to obey the torque settings and stuff like that. But it's fairly straightforward. One annoying thing about working out of the Tesla is that it locks itself every time. So what do I need? Torque screwdriver set. Here we go. It's not the most organised van here. So this is my Weira torque screwdriver set. Yeah, so the great thing about the Andersens is that the cable is completely concealed. So you literally just wind it like this, wind it around, and it just hides away. Hides away. Gonna untangle it a little bit for the first time, and it's hard to do this one-handed, but you get the point. Just tuck it away like that, and then it's the perfect length that this plug just sits in there, and then it's all neat and disappeared. So you can't see any cable or anything. All you've got is this very stylish looking box on your wall, which you can choose what colour it is to match. Customer here, they chose it to match with the colour of the door. So, you know, pretty nice. So now all I've got to do is connect it on the other side and then start testing it up. I'm going to fill in this hole as well, put some silicone in there, and then the customer's going to get that made good so that that just disappears. Right, so we have everything connected through in here. So that's just like the junction box that the twin and earth cable is connecting to the armoured cable within. Annoying that there's a screw missing, but that was how it was when I got it, unfortunately, and I can't find a replacement screw. Actually, I might find one in the van, in the Tesla. I've got my screw box, so I'll double check that. But anyway, everything's connected up and live, and in here we've just sorted all this out. So everything's labelled now. I've changed that RCBO because if you remember in the first part of this video, the RCBO for the oven was actually faulty. So we've changed that, and then everything's labelled up so the customer knows what's what rather than those horrible scribbled labels. I need to put a replacement screw in here as well because that screw was missing. And then under here we've got the consumer unit for the EV charger with its 32 amp breaker. Obviously it's all armoured cable, so it doesn't need RCD protection for the actual armoured cable, but that's all done and dusted there. And let me show you the charger. So it's working because well, it was working. I don't know why my little green light's not glowing for some reason on the car, so I need to check that. But I've just plugged in. The customer told me feel free to plug in and charge up while you're packing away, so I've done that, and it's been working really well. 7 kilowatt charge. Got my tools tucked away in here, so all good. I'm just going to have a spot of lunch. This has all turned out nice in the end. As you can see, it looks really smart. It's a smart looking charger, and it works great. So customer's happy, all good. Right, all done finally. What a relief. I'm glad that's all done and dusted and managed to get everything in, and it looks nice. I do love the look of those Andersen chargers. They are beautiful. There's just that, there's a few teething problems with the company. There was a little thing with the lid as well, that it wasn't perfectly lined up, and just little details like that they need to improve on. But I guess with all startup companies, it's like Tesla, they had a lot of quality issues when they started off, and they get them ironed out, but the whole principle behind it is good, So overall, I do like the Andersen chargers, and I will continue to fit them in certain situations. Zappi will still be my go-to for most, but in certain situations where you really need a good looking charger, then Andersen is definitely the way forward. So thumbs up if you approve of my hard work in the rain and driving back into London for no extra pay. And as always, if you do enjoy my videos and you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to subscribe. It's free and you'll get regular video updates from me. And if you hit the notification bell, then you won't miss out on future videos. I'm going to hit the road now and head back home, and it should be a nice drive in my Tesla. Thanks for watching and have a great day.